we've come to see the brand new Specialized power meter. In fact, it's so brand new, we've come down to the Specialized headquarters to show you it firsthand. This is the first time we've seen it, other than when we caught glimpses of it at the Tour Down Under on Peter Sagan's bike. So this is the dual-sided version on the Specialized power cranks that we've known and loved for a while now. Specialized have been making these for a couple of years. They come fitted on the higher end Venge-Vices, Tarmacs, and they're very performance orientated, so they're lightweight carbon, and now Specialized has adapted them to be able to accommodate their new power meter. So it's quite hard to see. It's quite an unassuming little black pod, but there's one here on the non-drive side, and there's also one just behind here on the drive side. So Specialized has made these cranks now be able to hold those. So that's important to note, because Specialized will no longer be selling their carbon power cranks as it was available previously without the power meter. From now on, if you want to upgrade to Specia's crankset, you'll have to buy one with a power meter. So you can buy this separately to the bike if you just want to buy a new power meter, or perhaps you particularly like the look of the S-Works carbon power cranks, because they do look awfully nice. So to do that, you will have to buy the power cranks separately, which comes with the power meter. They're separate to the chainrings, which you'll then have to buy from Praxis, because the S-Works crank arms only work with these Praxis chainrings, and that's something we've been seeing them do for ages now. Specking Praxis is standard across their bikes, but they're just sold separately, so you just have to make sure you get the right ones if you do want to buy this power meter. But following neatly on from that is the fact that you can, or you will be able to buy a SHIMANO Dura-Ace version of this power meter. And this is what we saw Peter Sagan using at the Tour Down Under. When you buy that, you get the whole crankset. You don't have to buy the chainring separately, that just comes as one. So it's a little bit different again. It's dual-sided, so the measurement is as accurate as on the power cranks. But because of the Dura-Ace chainrings, it actually sits in the Dura-Ace, the hole in the Dura-Ace spider there, rather than sitting inside the crank like it does here. That's because Specialized have adapted these crank arms to accommodate it, whereas Shimano haven't. Stepping down another level from that is obviously ULTEGRA, and Specialized will be doing a single-sided ULTEGRA option. So that is different again. That will sit in the non-drive side crank like it does here. And it's as simple as just buying a new non-side crank with a power meter in, which will be a relief to a lot of people, because installation will be super easy, because it will just be about swapping that crank off the bike and putting the new one on. And then you'll have power meter measurements from the non-drive side. All S-Works tarmac bike models in 2018 are going to come with the dual-sided power meter on, and S-Works Pro models are going to come with the single-sided power meter on. That is also going to be available to buy separately. So to put that into context on the full bike, yeah, you're spending almost $9.5 grand on this bike, but you're getting a power meter included in that. So it becomes potentially a bit more palatable. So having reeled through the models, we'll now look at the technology involved. And obviously this is Specialized's first attempt at a power meter, which are traditionally pretty difficult to do, and there are often a lot of hurdles when trying to make one from scratch. So Specialized has cleverly partnered with 4Eyes to share their advice, use their technology internally in the power meter. So we couldn't find out just how far 4Eyes have influenced this, but they've worked very closely on making this power meter together. However, Specialized do caveat that by saying that they've completely changed the external look of it. Well, not so much the look, but the hardware used to protect the precious internals. So Specialized said that one of the most important things that a power meter has to do is it has to be able to survive the elements. So, for example, at the pro races, mechanics are going to be jet washing this, and this needs to be able to survive being blasted by cold water. It needs to be able to survive temperature changes at the Tour de France, when the big fluctuations which could affect what outputs and readings, it needs to be able to survive those type of things. So Specialized has spent a very long time perfecting the sealing and the casing of the hardware to make sure it can basically survive anything, or so they say. Now, across the 4 models, there will be some variation in crank lengths, and I have that information right here on my trusty sheet of paper. So for the ULTEGRA left-hand side upgrade option, it will be available 170, 172.5, 175, as you'd expect. Same with the Dura-Ace dual-sided model. But S-Works power cranks are a little bit different. So this is the same for both the single-sided and the dual-sided S-Works power crank models. They're available from 165mm, 167.5, and then 170, 172.5, 175, 177.5, and 180 mil. So the most important thing with any power meter is its accuracy, because that's what you're going to train by when you're on the bike. Now, Specialized say that all of their models are accurate to plus or minus 1.5% accuracy, which is pretty standard across the market, really. And it says that's at every power level, cadence, gear, pedal offset, and riding position, it will still give that reading. And in terms of its weight, Specialized haven't given us a huge amount of information, but it's something like the pods will weigh 15 grams each, and then the individual weights will obviously be specific to the crankset that they're partnered with. The Specialized fat carbon power cranks are obviously particularly light, and that will be different for the Dura-Ace models down to the ULTEGRA left-hand crank option. And with all new power meters really, or modern power meters at least, one of the most important things you can have is a good companion app, because that is absolutely vital to sending firmware updates to the power meter, and that's what keeps it accurate. So Specialized are also releasing a new app. The eagle-eyed viewers among you will have been able to spot this little sticker on the inside that says you can download it from both the App Store and Google Play, and that will be the companion app. So you'll use that to fire over firmware updates to the power meter to keep it accurate. So there you go, that's Specialized brand new power meter. You can find all the information on our launch story on our website, and be sure to like and subscribe, and also comment below on what you think. We'll be getting a review done on this as soon as possible, as soon as we get one in the office, so keep your eyes peeled.